I really want to thank Kristina joining Kristina, well, she will present herself, but is the campaign leader of Power for All. She gave us a great keynote speech here and into this conference, which is the end of the Lenses project, which is a learning network on sustainable energy for all. So we are trying to do the same things from two different perspectives, and we encounter here in Cape Town, which is far away from my own country, which is Italy, and from her own, so we travel a lot. But I think that we find something really very interesting, and new synergies will come out of that.
So Power for All is a global campaign focused on accelerating the achievement of universal energy access. By our calculations, we can get there in half the time for a fraction of the cost by focus on decentralized renewable energy and adding urgency to the equation. Well, when we look at how to accelerate universal energy access, Power for All has some very distinct points of views about ways to do that. In general, the theory of change of a campaign like Power for All begins with really establishing the legitimacy of this sector, decentralized renewable energy, as a legitimate part of the world global energy supply. So that's a huge part of our effort. Once that legitimacy is established, it's also important to challenge the existing mindset that wants to go with the ways we've always developed energy, which is slow, expensive, and not good for either people's health or the global environment. So with that, we do believe that it's important to get the policy environment strictly behind this sector. And so our focus is on challenging the lack of belief that we can do that and showing a new way forward. And in addition to that, really then working on the political will in the countries suffering from energy poverty to put the right systems in place. So there's a policy element to that, there's a finance element to that, but most importantly, it's really a shift in mindset about what's possible in our future. Power for All was officially launched last year in 2015, but it actually grew out of work that I had started in 2013. So altogether, I think you would say the history stretches back about 3 years, but it's really been in the last year with funding from the UK aid agency DFID that we've been able to go beyond bootstrapping and really move towards making significant changes on the ground. Well, penetration today, it's still a nascent industry, there's no doubt. We're at about 2 or 3%, but we actually think that that's not actually a bad thing. In fact, it's just what happens when a market starts out. So our focus is really on how do we accelerate that market growth. In the recent years, we've seen sort of, I guess I would say 30 to 40% year-over-year growth in the sector, but we want to accelerate that and also expand it beyond a sort of concentration of countries that it's really focused in today. So. Power for All designs its campaigns around what we call calls to action, which is a very clear analysis of what are accelerators, and then we come up with the steps that need to be taken for those who want to be part of this effort to accelerate universal energy access. So our last call to action was launched in April through the World Bank spring meetings, and then our next will be released in the next 4 to 6 weeks, somewhere around COP22. It will be available as both a point of view paper as well as a detailed call to action on how to enact the kind of policy changes we need to accelerate access, and you can find it on powerforall.org.